Welcome to this Indiana Professional Management Group informational webinar, Finding Community-Based Disability Supports and Resources. I am Patricia Levitt, the Learning Experience Specialist at IPMG. Before I introduce today's presenter, I'd like to share a few housekeeping items related to this session. First, webinar attendees will receive an email verifying their attendance one day after the webinar. IPMG employee owners, that's the email you should use as your certificate to upload for training credit. Also, the recording of this session will be posted on IPMG's YouTube channel within 2 business days. Finally, if you have a question during the session, we invite you to add it to the questions box. We will pause occasionally for time to answer some questions along the way in the presentation, and there should be time for answering a few questions at the end as well. Please be sure to add only general questions in the questions box. If you have specific questions about your case, you should reach out to your contact at IPMG. Our presenter has also said she will provide her contact information at the end of the session for any questions that you may have about the topic. Now, I am glad to tell you a little about our presenter for today's webinar. Vicki Lee Johnson is Vice President of Finder at AWS Foundation, one of Northeast Indiana's largest public foundations with over $100 million in assets. She leads the foundation's navigation initiative, collaborating with the Indiana Institute on Disability and Community, IIDC, at Indiana University to further the foundation's mission to improve outcomes for individuals of all abilities. With a deep understanding of the critical importance of timely, accurate information, Vicki is a passionate advocate for a comprehensive, statewide system that empowers individuals across Indiana to locate, access, and share community supports. She sees the opportunity to transform how people engage in community life as both an exciting challenge and a profound responsibility. Vicki holds a Bachelor's of Business Administration and a Master's degree in Management and Leadership. She is also a certified project manager and holds multiple professional designations. A dedicated ambassador of AWS Foundation's mission, she actively promotes awareness, drives advocacy, and works to build a more inclusive community. Before joining AWS Foundation, Vicki served as Vice President of Marketing and Retail Banking at Tower Bank. She also spent over 2 decades in the health insurance industry, leading marketing and new product development initiatives. An engaged community leader and volunteer, Vicki serves on several nonprofit boards and has been honored as a Rolfson Stewardship Award nominee and a Fort Wayne Women of Achievement nominee. She lives in Northeast Indiana with her husband and enjoys time with their 2 adult children and 3 grandchildren. Vicki, we are so looking forward to hearing from you today. I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you so much, Patricia. I am so glad to be here, and happy Friday, everybody. It's always wonderful when you've made it through the week and felt like you've achieved some success. So today, it's going to be a casual demonstration, and we're going to have some discussion as we go. If anyone has questions, as Patricia mentioned, you can follow that process to let us know. The presentation is going to begin with a brief background information. Some of you may already be familiar with it, the history and how we've gotten to where we are today, but we want everybody to start with the same basic level of understanding. So we're going to just kind of go through that quickly for everyone. And once we breeze through that, then we're going to jump onto the Finder website, and we're actually going to be working as a live demonstration. If we go too deep, there is just so much more than we can cover in an hour. So we're going to spend our time working as an individual, searching for help in the community that they live in. So be sure that there is very robust administrative features, that there's a lot of things that you can go very deep into behind the scenes, and also doing more as an individual with each listing. But if we did that, we'd be diving in for hours. So in the interest of time, again, we're just going to be going through as if we were an individual working on the site, looking for a service. So with that, I'm going to share my screen, and I've got several screens, so you're going to see me turning back and forth here, but we are going to move into the presentation. So you should see, let's see. Oh, I was already sharing screens and all I did was unshare, I think. So we're going to try this again. There we go. Ta-da! That took a minute. Hopefully everybody sees the introduction slide here.
We do, thank you.
Great. So an agenda, again, we're going to say who we are, why Finder, just going to give a little importance of using it, the site demonstration, and then a quick Q&A. So for those of you that are not aware of AWS Foundation, we are specifically focused on people with disabilities, enduring disabilities, generally from birth, intellectual, developmental, or physical. And our mission is we want everyone to live their best life, to live as independently as possible, to get active in the community, and to achieve their highest potential. And so to do that, we provide financial grants in Northeast Indiana. And it's important to remember that our funding mission is Northeast Indiana. And we fund nonprofit organizations. Each year we'll give away $5 to $6 million, and we're looking to increase that amount. Indiana Disability Resource Finder is statewide. In working with IU and the Center of Excellence and several other organizations, this was all developed to cover the entire state. And it's the one thing that the foundation does that is statewide. So why Finder? The community needs and what we wanted to do. Well, from a foundation perspective, we always go out, we look and talk to different individuals about what's the roadblocks to your success, what's stopping you from living your best life. And with that, we bring in families, caregivers, providers from all areas. And over the years, we found that system navigation was number one, that people said, we don't know what we don't know. It's hard to find information that we need. And it really is stopping us from or delaying us from achieving what we'd like to. So we brought together funders, nonprofits, different service providers and government agencies, everybody. And we researched this and found that there was a lot of duplication. Everybody kind of had it on their strategic plan, but no one really had the resources. It was such a universal need. So we decided, since we're have the ability with the funding, that we would just take on this program and this objective. And that's how we received and built Finder. So with Finder, couple things. When this is a picture of the homepage really quickly, and one thing I want to point out is that we do have live chat with Finder now down here in the corner. So if you're using Finder and you have questions, or someone that's helping you, or that you're providing services for, you do have at different times of the day the ability to talk to somebody immediately while you're online. But you also can contact us via email. And that we do have a mobile app, and I'll show you how to install that piece quickly, where to find that information, but you can click on that homepage to be able to have that. It is not in the App Store. You can only do it on the site. There's a cost with the App Store. So, and since we're just in Indiana, we just didn't figure that that would help us as much. So keep that in mind. So Finder is free to everyone, organizations, anyone that's using it. The foundation covers all costs involved with it. Anyone can use the site just by jumping in. But if someone wants to register for an account to where they log in, they have additional features. The ability to bookmark listings, to save searches and manage their searches, to participate in different surveys. If someone wants to own and update a listing, they're an organization and they want to make sure they're in Finder, they can put it in themselves if they have an account and then you also have a lot of access to different special how-tos. Keep in mind that Finder, anybody can put a listing in Finder, and that's kind of the each teach piece that we have, but nothing is posted, nothing is viewed by the public until it is vetted by a person, made sure that it's appropriate for the system and that it is correct. So we try and make the highest level of content that we can have in the system. So that gives a background, and that was really fast, but that gives as much background to just kind of get everybody on an even keel. Finder has been live to the public since March of 2019, just in time to us to get rocking and rolling for COVID to come around and a lot of organizations to, kind of close down services. So those that were really susceptible to illness weren't in public places and programs. So then we had to kind of step back and do some rework, but we've been rocking and rolling ever since. So I am going to take you into the site. So let's see if we can get it to come up and launch here. Everybody should see the site. And it is our homepage that you're looking at. So everyone will see it just in this way when you enter. So we'll kind of do a brief review of this, and then we'll jump back to the PowerPoint presentation after we've gone through. So just a few pointers on the homepage. The homepage itself, the logo will always take you back to the homepage or the home. About Us is pretty standard. We'll come to the events here. That'll be the first thing. Let me kind of go through some other things and we'll jump back to it. Questions, frequently asked questions, really easy. This is where you want to go. There are all kinds of additional help services, but there are a lot of videos here that make a big difference. And with that, you can download your mobile app from this area. So if you want to think about background or talk to somebody about the site, it explains how we verify and locate information and so forth. So with that, just a quick check-in. The keyword search, we'll do that in a little bit. We also have a new AI feature that's coming up. We have the journey, start your journey, which is another opportunity in 2 different locations to walk through the site. We have a media kit, and individuals can add a listing that we talked about. So quickly, if we looked at a login, again, you don't have to do this, but if you do want to register for an account, it's super easy. What you would just do is say, I want to register. And if you register, you're going to have your name, a brief email. We like to identify whether an individual, caregiver, or professional. That helps us with funding and kind of slicing and dicing who's using the system. You can be more than one. You can be all 3. Everything from that point is optional to where you can select the county that you live in, some demographics, ethnicity, and then you put in a password and you determine if you want to participate in surveys. IIDC, down at the Center of Excellence, gets some federal and state funding. For those that do fill out this section, it helps with some state requirements. But again, your name can only be your first name. It could be a nickname. Then you have your email. There's no other identifiers. The system does not accept any personal health information. So you're all good. You're all good with that. And I'll log in and show you some things when you want to save an account later. So you also have some things on the homepage. In the footer, it's the contact us and some also repeat information, some glossaries that individuals can find helpful. And one other thing we have is some iconography. The site works with readers. Everything, with exception of some of the terminology, which we can't help, is at 3rd grade level. But we do have definitions. And this is downloadable. So if you work for an organization, volunteer, or within IPMG, if you are building a brochure, marketing, a flyer, anything like that, these are copyright free. You can download and use these definitions, use any of these icons in anything that you're working on. So that kind of gives you just the home page and information from that. So with that, we're going to look at some events as the first option.
Hi, Vicki. This is Lana, and
Hi,
I just
Lana.
thought now would be a real quick time to jump in because we do have a question,
Okay,
and
great.
maybe you could just real quickly go back to that about being able to use Finder without logging in.
Sure.
And I know you just went over that, but maybe you could do that real quick. Someone had a question about that.
Okay. When you jump on the Finder site, just as the homepage is right now, we can immediately start a search. No questions asked. We can just jump right in. This just talks about if you do want extra services, that you can log in and it will help you capture to save your listings. And later in the presentation, I will actually log in and show you how to do that. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to search with no login. I'm just going to say if somebody just logs right in, drops on the homepage, this is how it works. Does that help answer that question? We'll dive into the login thing
Yes.
just shortly. Okay,
Yes,
great.
I believe that they had said that they had tried to search for something and it said you need to log in first, but potentially maybe they weren't putting it in correctly, maybe.
Yeah. You don't have to log in unless you want to save something. So if you have searched and then you
Okay.
click on certain features, then it's going to ask you to log in. And so
Okay,
that's where
gotcha.
you would
All
register
right.
for an account. But we'll show you, I promise I'll show you that shortly. So the first thing we were going to look at is events. And that is a really nice searchable calendar of events and activities that are in all the various communities. So we're going to look at what's listed. You have two different views. You have a listing view, which is usually the default most of the time, depending on what you've used last. And when you use that, it's going to be your landing page, and it's going to show you all events that are in date order that are on the calendar. But you have the opportunity then, of course, to search. So you can look for something that you're interested in finding. So maybe you're looking for an event and you want, and you can see I've searched for some other things, and my memory in my computer is showing me some options. But if I said I wanted autism, then it's going to show me the autism events, any event that talks about autism. Maybe I don't want autism, but I'm looking at all the events and I say, man, I just, I'm a fitness and I'd like to walk for a cause. So I just put in walk, and it's going to acceptance walk. It's going to show me different activities that have things that work with that. So I can go by diagnosis. I can go by the type of activity. I can go by the name of the organization. If I say, oh, I know that there's something that I would like to see, and I know the name of the event, but I have no more information about it, I can key that in. I have the ability to look at activities only in my service area. Many of the activities are online. So online is going to show everywhere. So if I want to look at activities that have online, it's automatically going to sort for that. Some of them may be both online and in person, but it's going to bring those up. Here's one that says online professional. There are activities that are for families or that are professional that are put up for training. So maybe I just want to see that say I'm a professional. I only want to look at events that are designed for a professional to attend. So it gives me all of that information. This is a thumbprint. If I click on the event, it's going to give me all the details. It gives me the information that was in the thumbprint, but it also gives me a map and an address. It's going to give me a description, a little bit more than what's on the front. Here's some dates here. It may give me different steps to complete registration. And in any organization that has something where they want you to register, they will link. And if you go to this, it's going to open another tab and it's going to take you right out to that organization, right out to that ability to sign up, however they have structured that. So you have that. If there's additional dates or repeats, it's going to give those things. And one of the basic formats of Finder is the filtering system. That's how you can slice and dice all these listings and the logic that we put them in. So even with events, we say, what's the topic of interest? Well, the name of this event is Understanding Intimate Partner Violence for service providers. Here is the topics of interest that they have chosen that helps them sort or filter the stages of life that are appropriate. The different diagnoses, and you'll see that with provider listings, that can be even more important because it talks about what their staff is trained in, maybe what they're certified in, the services that they particularly provide for different conditions. And then the service areas are what they're either licensed, where they reach, where they have staff. And this, of course, is online and it's statewide. So it has all of this ability here. One of the things that we've talked about, you can add it to your calendar. You can print it. So if you would print it, and I probably shouldn't have chose that because I am working from home, so it may or may not came up with some printers. So I'm going to cancel that. And if I wanted to hit a bookmark, or if I wanted to send this listing to someone else. So bookmark is the item for you to log in. That great question that you had a few minutes ago. If you want to bookmark something and you want to be able to come back to it, whether it's a listing or an individual item, it has to be tied to an email. And because it has to be tied to an email to allow you to come back to it quickly and easily, that's why you will want an account. So let's say I want to log in. This is my master login. I'm going to change this to my personal login. And I'm going to log in. Success, and you successfully added this to your bookmark. So if I wanted to go to my profile, here I can see my listings, my guides, and here I am. I've saved this event. So next time, without even searching, if I went into my account, I signed in, I could just go right back to this and just click right on it, and it's going to take me right to this listing. So that way I don't lose a listing or I don't lose a search. I don't have to recreate it. That's the advantage of having a profile. And you can also, with your profile, save it in folders. So you have your bookmark listings, you have your bookmark events, but you can create folders to save searches. So here's a folder that I have named Joe. And so I've said my child's name's Joe. And so anything that I have searched for that I've saved would be in my Joe folder. So that hopefully, was that helpful for that question? Okay.
Yes, I believe so. Sorry. Yes, I was looking to see if they had, yes, sure. I think that has been helpful. Thank you, Vicki.
Sure. You're very welcome. So when you're looking at the calendars, and I'm going to go back to that events here. One thing to keep in mind is this is the bookmark piece, but you can also look at it in a calendar format. So if you prefer a calendar format, you can switch back and forth. If I clicked on a calendar format, the thumbprint is here. And if I want to view the event, I can view the event. If it's something to register for, the register button's right on the thumbprint with a different format. So a couple different ways to look at things. The calendar event is great. A lot of free training. Cost varies on some things, and it provides that information, but you've got a lot of free. So for families that want to learn things, for people that want to do things, for individuals that want additional training, There's a lot of options at no cost. So that is events. So I'm going to move on then to talk about searching for something other than an event. So we're actually going to look at different ways to search. And there are 4 ways to search: a keyword search, our new AI feature, a guided journey, or a combination of all of those. So we're just going to look at that. And as we look at that, keep in mind that if someone needs to have a translation, we can translate the site. And when we translate, for one of the, I think there's 9 defaults for translation, it translates everything on the site. The only thing is formal names, or if you go off of the site out to register or something like that, you're actually on someone else's site, but it does right down to the listings. So if someone has English as a second language, great site for that. And we put Burmese, we've put a lot of other things on there that are communities throughout the state. The site is 100% ADA compatible. There are advanced above and beyond requirements that will slow the site down, but if somebody needs them, they are here. So if you want additional contrast, if you want to desaturate, if you want to highlight links, there's all kinds of things you can do. But again, not everyone needs those, so we don't put those all in. So if we're searching for something, let's start with a keyword search. And if we're looking for a keyword search, super easy if you know the organization's name. So I'm going to go Forbes Disability Group because I know that it's right down the way from where I am. And here we are. Finder automatically narrows down based on your IP address, the county you're in and surrounding counties, and displays them. You can take that off and you can change counties. I know as a case manager, that's huge because you may be searching for someone who's not in your location. It's all right here, very easy to do. You can click, unclick, change anything. If you want to change completely, you click a button and it takes you out to the service area and it shows you where you are, and you can click or unclick here, choose any new county that you want, and you can go from there, and it works great. So you have the ability to do that. So I'm going to go back here, and I've clicked in my search, and it says I've got my Forbes disability, and I'm just looking through this piece, and it brings it right up, gives me a thumbprint with contact information and a brief description. And again, everything's based on a thumbprint. I can click, it's going to show me information. And for some reason or another, we did an update last night, and it's looks like we've got a little glitch. And I noticed that first thing this morning, but I didn't want to change it because I was going to do the demonstration, and I didn't want them to mess up something else, a programmer accidentally to do something else. So got a little bit of stuff going on here, but I'll clean that up right after this. But it gives information, and again, it gives those filters all the way down through. So anything I want to get rid of, I just really quickly click on it, and it's going to give me all the listings. And it's saying in this area, predetermined, I have, if I'm just not doing any filters, I've got 509 different things that could automatically come up. Maybe I don't know the name, or I do have a name, and it's more than one organization. So I've keyed in Cameron. Here's 3 different Cameron pieces: Cameron Pediatrics, Cameron Memorial Hospital. So I've got those pieces that I'm looking at. And again, I can punch down in and look at any one of those. And I can get rid of it, research at any time. Any organization that I look at, I can do a farther search. So if I wanted to drop down, let's see, we did Cameron. If I wanted to drop back down to Cameron, I could click on this, and again, it's going to give me all this information. I can bring up a map if I want a map, and it's going to show me information. If my system allows me to jump out, if I map here, it's going to take me out. I can draw, I can print, I can do what I want there. Again, it's going to give me my description. It's going to go back through everything that I want. If I want to print again, post, if I want to share this listing. So if you've got an individual who you're collecting a listing for and you want to send it to them, I can press this button and it says enter an email or comma to separate. I can say I want to send this to, I'll just send it to myself. And I'm going to send this email. What it's going to do is there's a template out in the system and it's actually going to send this to them. And based on that, they'll receive what I'm looking at and with this listing, and they can click on that link and it's going to take them right back into Finder and show them what I'm sending out. And I can send a search link, I can send an individual, a listing link, whatever it is that I want to do from that. So that's really nice. If I don't want to use an organization's name, I just want to do a service, I can do something like transportation. And it's automatically going to give me organizations that provide transportation. And I'm saying, well, I only want Steuben County because that's where I am. And it's going to say, wow, you've got 17. And it's pinning what is the standard transportation provider in the community. So this piece is Star Transportation, and it tells me how to find them, what it is that they do, how to contact them, and it gives me that transportation that I'm looking for ease. But it does have other things that I can find. Grace on Wings, In Care Trans, Council on Aging might have transportation. So it is giving me 17 different choices. The best one up top first, but it's going to give me 17 different choices on transportation. Now, that is a keyword search. But what if I used, and it just click transportation off, what if I used a AI assisted search and I put in transportation? It's giving me 17. It's still giving me Star as the most common because that one's pinned for that county. That's the standard county community transportation service. But it gives me other options here. And it's doing it based on looking at each one of the listings and says, who has information or services available? They come up in random order. I can change them and make them alphabetical. If I make them alphabetical, the one that's pinned will always stay at the top. So that's gonna help. And I can also look to say we have providers, but there's resources. So if I click on resources, what does that do? Well, those are videos, checklists, articles, information on transportation. So it goes out and it says, what listings do we have? Who's out there that provides information on transportation? So, helpful tips, that type of thing. And so again, you would click on that and it would take you out and link you to the article, link you to the information, explain the resources. Are there any events on transportation? Well, okay, here's Heart to Heart Conference because that's my search. And Heart to Heart has a session on transportation. And again, apologies, kind of hard to read with this other piece there, but it is Heart to Heart's their 9th conference, and they have said in their filters that they have information on transportation. So if you go there as an event and say, hey, I need information on transportation, they're going to have that for you. And I can jump around to those. On some of these spoken languages here, this filter is listings where your chosen language is spoken at the location. So this translates the site. This is if one of these organizations has a translator on site or has a staff member. Usually most common is Spanish. So you had 17 options, but now you've got 4 because these organizations are saying that if you come to our facility and you only speak Spanish, we have a staff member on site that can help you. Many other organizations have a third-party translator. They just call somebody, but that works for them. So that helps you look at the difference between AI and how we're searching for a keyword search. But AI has a little bit more here. So let's say I get rid of that and I say, okay, I want to do AI, but AI has the ability not to do a keyword, but the ability to ask a question. So let's say I want a ride. And AI is going out, it's going, wow, there's 50 organizations that just say, I want a ride. Because what AI does, and again, it's new and we're really looking to close it down and make it more specific, is it'll say, I want a ride. So any organization that says ride, it's going to provide that listing. But it also gives you a question here, suggestions. So I could say, I want to do a transportation piece, and let's just try, okay, what about paratrans near me? Now it's down to 10 and stars back on the top. So I've asked the question and then AI's tried to help me narrow it down. So keep in mind when you're using AI that those are some things that you need to do. There's also, if you're more specific with AI, it can be even better. So let's say I need a hearing test. And again, I'm in Steuben County. It's saying there's 6. There's a hearing center, has multiple locations. Well, what is that? Well, here's the multiple locations. Well, wow, look, they're right here in Angola. Gives their mission statement, gives information on board certified and what's going on there. So AI really can help you, but again, it's new technology, and it's cannot be as specific. So you really need to determine what it is that you want to see from that. If there's any questions, then I'm going to jump to the guided journey, but I'll wait a minute in case somebody has any questions on what we've seen so far.
We do have a question. Someone has said this is great and does so much, but their question is that would this work on your phone and have the same access as if you were on your computer, I believe,
Yes.
or the also they've asked about the app.
Yes, if you download the app, and right here you can click to learn more here, you can download this app. It's going to be a little finder icon on your phone, and it takes away all the photos and it takes away the colors and some few other things. But yes, you can search AI, you can search with your keyword, you can do a guided journey and you can look up other things. So the app is available and it does work or allow you to do all the things that you can do on the site itself. And it works with
Perfect.
iPhone
Thank you.
and Android. So it's really cool. So now we're
Thank
going to look at
you.
you're very welcome. I'm glad. It's a great question. Now we're looking at a guided journey. A guided journey was determined because the group that got together were, as I said, provider agencies. IPMG was one of the founding guidance group members that helped us develop the site on what how it should work and the things that it should be looking to do. So kudos to you guys. But we wanted to say, if I am new to the disability community, or I don't know what I don't know, again, I don't know what I'm looking for, what can I do? So we said, let's do a guided journey. And here are all the filters. and you can look for what you're looking for based on an icon. Every icon gives a definition, so it kind of tells you what it is if you're looking for it anytime you see a question mark. And so it's going through the piece and you can decide what you want to do. So we're going to do a really quick guided journey. And again, I'm only in Steuben County, but I'm going to go assessment or evaluation. I'm going to say, wow, I have a school-age child, and I'm going to move forward, and it's going to say, here are all the different diagnoses. Well, I don't know, but my teacher says that my child in school has indicators. I want to check them for autism. We have payment benefits here where it talks about, it always defaults to call for details, but if you have someone specific that says, I only have certain payment options, what would that be? And many of the organizations have multiple programs, and some have private insurance and some accept waiver. And so the default I would encourage you to use is call for details unless you specifically have to have something, because a lot of times organizations don't click them all because that indicates that every program offers them all, and they don't. So they'll do a lot of call for details as a default. And next is, okay, here's your location. And I've moved it down to Steuben. So now I want to view results, or if I hit next, it would view results. And it says, wow, there's 42 different things here for that say they would give me therapy or would do testing. And so I'm like, gosh, that's a lot. So how would I narrow that down? And so I say, well, maybe the diagnosis, they also have behavior concerns. Does that help at all? Well, now I'm down to 27. And I'm saying, well, school age. So you can narrow down, but here's the results that I have in random order, or this is alphabetical because I changed it to alphabetical, but it could go back to random. So it would move depending on what I do. I can just kind of leaf down through here and see what there is. Well, Cameron, I looked for them before. They're in Angola. Positive behavior has multiple locations. Wonder if they have one that's in Angola. I don't really know. What have they got for locations? They've got one in Bloomington, so they're kind of listed statewide. That's a little bit farther away from where I want to go. But I can go down through and I can check all of these, and I can move through this list. And I can just check each one and see what it is that they have or what it is that they can tell me. And Finder is to help people make choices. It's the super connector, like the yellow pages of the internet, only where you live, work, and play, or specifically for disabilities. So I can narrow it down, and then I can just kind of look for things. And then I can try and kind of see what I want to do. So here I have 27. Man, if I changed counties or I added a county, let's say I'm in Fort Wayne, Allen County, that has a lot more. So let's say I did Allen County. We had 27, now we're up to 51. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to drive to Steuben if I'm in Allen County. So now I'm down to 50. So you can see a lot of these are statewide. They have different organizations or different information. Some you may drive to, some you may not want to go that far, but it gives you a lot of different information. So with that, let me show you the power of, I'm going to restart. So I'm going to restart, leaves items that I can add or take. If I want to clear my filters, it says, do you want to keep your location still? I'm going to say, nah, I'm not going to get rid of my location, but it's going to clear everything else. And I'm going to do a guided journey again, and I'm going to show the power of using several different options. So one thing to think about is the filter here. You can determine, if you don't know what one of these icons you want. Say I want to camp. Well, that's considered recreation. So it's going to show me because camp is listed as one of the items here. So it's going to find it for me. And I'm just going to go ahead and click that. I'm going to go next. And I'm going to say a school-age child. and I'm going to go next. And I'm going to say my grandchild has low vision. So if I want to do some kind of recreational activity for a school-age child, I want to make sure that their staff or that they have the ability to support someone with low vision. I'm going to move on here. I'm just going to pay for it myself. It's a camp piece. I'm going to leave for call for details. I'm in Allen County. I've changed that. If I wanted to use my location and go back, I could, and it's going to add Steuben and all the counties around me because it identifies where my IP address is. I'm going to change that. I'm going back here. I'm just going to get rid of these again. Let's just see what happens if I choose just back to Allen County. And I'm going to go next. And it's going to say, oh my gosh, there's 41 camps. I don't want to go to 41 camps. They're camps of all kinds. Well, my granddaughter, and I'm going to go back to a keyword search on this one, loves horses. So let's say I want to go to a camp with horses. So I put in horse and it's going to go, oh my gosh, now there's 3 specifically: Dare to Dream Ranch, an equestrian center, and Camp Red Cedar. If I clicked on Camp Red Cedar, it's going to show me in Allen County. It's going to show me the camps. It's going to say horseback riding, therapeutic riding lessons. It's going to give me a lot of different things for that. And again, I can send that to my daughter for my grandchild. I can save it for later. I can print it out. So as I go through this, if I say, well, you know what? I don't want Allen County. I'm willing to drive. There's 28 across the state. Magic Meadows in Warsaw, all kinds of different locations. Oh, I got one here close to Angola, Haverhill Therapy Center. Gives me Reigns of Grace, all kinds of things. And then depending on what I see, I can continue to add keyword searches. I can continue to move things around. And I'm going to say, let's go back to Allen County and view my results. And I'm back to those 3, but say, you know, my grandson does not have low vision. And he goes with my granddaughter. And whatever my granddaughter does, you know, that's kind of they're a team, and he will make sure that she's fine. And she has low vision. She's not blind. So maybe I feel okay with that. So I take that diagnosis off. Now I'm up to 6. Ride with Faith, Camp About Face, Dare to Dream. Maybe some of these camps don't specifically choose a filter for low to no vision, so I don't want to eliminate them. So that gives me a little bit more to look at. So that really, really helps with being able to find what I'm looking for. So I'm going to, before I jump into some added extras, any questions on searches?
I am not seeing any questions right now.
Okay, that's great. Again, it's something that you practice with. It's something that you work on. It's something that the more you use, the more you understand how it works and you learn those filters. And the cool thing about that also is it truly helps Finder because we have some great reports. And every time you don't find something, we can track it. And if you had done a search, and I'm just going to do a transportation again. And with that transportation, and I'm looking CityLink here on the way I've got all of these things for school age and entertainment and everything all in there. I could take a filter out and it's going to change it as I kind of go. But as I do more for that, I have the ability to give a rating. Did I find what I was looking for? Did I not? Every time somebody gives us a thumbs up or thumbs down, we can track what they were searching for. And we can go back and say, what did they find? What didn't they find? So all of those things can truly help us. So you want to keep using it. And also you can submit a listing, which is huge for us. Right here, add a listing. Anybody can add a listing. Now you have to have an account to add a listing because we have to know who added it so we can research. But if I'm logged in, so if you want to add, I wanted to add a listing, it's going to say, what do I want to add? I can say I want to add a provider. It gives me the guidelines that I agree to. And then I can start going through and looking at these listings and adding information. And it takes me step by step through where I choose my icons and I add my listings, and it takes a little bit, so I'm not going to do that. But if I was on my own profile, I can see where I have my listings because I have added listings previously for demos and other things. So let me look at my listing. It shows me my listing in a thumbnail, and then it shows me how this listing was added. And it has all this information that I can go through. So any information that you want to add, if you find a listing and it's not in the system and you know about it, you can add it. If you don't want to go into great detail because you don't know all the information about the organization, just use the contact us and just press the button and say, contact us. I want to send an email. I want to say, here's my name, here's my county, here's a phone number or email. And I just realized here's a listing that's not in here. And if it's important for us to get a hold of you, we will. If you just give us the email address and the organization's name, we can research it ourselves and then work with that organization to put that listing in. So we've got a lot of listings in the system, but there's a lot more in some of those service deserts or some of those smaller communities and smaller organizations that we may not find in Finder, and we want to get those in. So you guys would be great to help us with that. That would be awesome. So I am going to go back to my Zoom meeting, and let's see how the best way to do that. So I'm just going to exit Finder. And let's see where my PowerPoint is. Here we go. So a couple things on Finder to just kind of keep going. Based on functionality, advocacy, content, and outcome. That's how we work. Quality data in, quality searches out. Entries and collaboration. We're trying to collaborate with organizations. We put links on websites. Anybody that wants to link to Finder, please do. You can link any organization. We encourage them. If they've got a tab that says resources or they want to help people find resources, we tell them use Finder, link, and that's great. We have a media kit on the site down in the footer, and we give away free promotional items. If you want Finder business cards, if you want Finder magnets for refrigerators, if you want Finder pens, you can email us and we will mail free of charge items for you to promote. But the media kit also has items that you can download, where you can download flyers, you can download posters, you can download icons to help you link to the site, all kinds of things, and they're all free. So please go out, look in the footer and click on the media kit. I think the media kit's now also in the header, so you can click on anything that says media kit. Indiana Institute of Disability Community, down at IU, they do the daily program management. They verify the listings. There's 3 staff members that that AWS helps to support and fund. And so we go out and verify those listings before they're published. So, and they look for listings. There's also, they are the individuals that are on live chat and that answer any emails that you send. What I do and what we do at AWS Foundation is we provide the funding, but then we also work with the programming. So it's me who, as soon as we get off, will go out to the programmers and say, hey, you downloaded a new feature last night. And by the way, did you notice that in our listings, we have some extra text that shouldn't be there, that I've looked at something that's carrying through on my screen and get that fixed immediately. So that's my responsibility with AWS. Finder's policies, there's no endorsements, there's no advertisement, there's no personal health information. We try to do it with AI. It's best match. So when you use AI, things that match the most to the question that you asked are listed on top. If you can move it to random order if you'd like. If you use a keyword search, it does the same thing. It finds how many times that keyword hits in a listing, or if it's a name, is it a direct, or is that word within the name? And then it brings those up, and those are listed first. Again, free to all users, all individuals, all organizations. There's no cost for a listing whatsoever, and there's no cost to promote Finder with items to give away. So I know we've only got 5 minutes, but with that, any more questions? Anything I can do to help you? Here is my contact information. The URL is right here. And again, what I would encourage you, if it's a daily administrative question, to email Finder through the Contact Us. I can help. I'm happy to do presentations. I'm happy to answer technical questions. If it's a question about a listing, if it's a question about training, saving items, if you can't find a listing or a service and you want help finding a listing or service, those would be the chat. Those would be sending an email through Contact Us.
Well, Vicki, there's a couple of comments thanking you so much for the information. It was amazing and it seems very simple to use. So thank you so much. Someone has asked if you will consider, or maybe you already do have this, a QR code someone could use to be able to download the app.
Oh, that's a great idea. And we've talked about doing QR codes on our printed materials and some other things. But I do think we can do that, and I think it'd be easy to do, and I'm so appreciate that suggestion. And I will talk to the programmers and see if there's a way to put a QR code like on the homepage and in the frequently asked questions.
Awesome. Great.
Thank you for
another
the suggestion.
comment thanking, yeah, that is a great suggestion. There is another comment, just thanking you for all the great details. And I will mention at this time that you can access the Finder website on IPMG's website as well. So we have that located there for you. If you happen to be on our website and you would like to go to the Finder website, it's under the resources section and it's labeled Finder. So you would be able to easily find Finder on our website as well. I am not seeing any other questions, so I will turn it back over to you and Patricia.
All right, well, thank you so much. And thank you, Vicki, for sharing such a great informative presentation and demonstration with us today. What a fantastic resource. I did not know Finder could do all of that.
Yeah, it can actually do much, much more. If I had another half an hour, you would be amazed. Behind the scenes, we have the ability to share so much more information to make our community better. And one of the goals is to find out where we don't have listings coming up and where the service deserts are, and turn it over to AWS Foundation for potential funding to help with more programs. So it's
awesome. Well, I'm sure you can count on folks who are on this webinar to pitch in and help with sharing more resources so that you can help pinpoint those areas. We do appreciate everyone else who took time to join us today to learn more about Finder also, and who will, I'm sure, engage with that community online. Our next informational webinar will take place on November 14th at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're excited to welcome Shonda Davis, a volunteer with the Alzheimer's Association. Shonda's presentation, The Empowered Caregiver, Building Foundations of Caregiving, explores the role of caregiver and changes they may experience, building a support team and managing caregiver stress. Registration information for the November webinar will be shared soon, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.